Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Good morning and thank you for the opportunity to present our research innovations. EduVeriChain, blockchain-powered graduate credentialing for the digital age. EduVeriChain is an innovation that integrates blockchain technology, digital education, credentials, and graduate employability. The fundamental idea is simple. How can we make academic credentials more trustworthy, easier to verify, and more useful to graduates when they enter the digital labor market? These questions forms the basis of our innovations. Let me begin with the main problem. In the current education and employment ecosystem, graduates possess many academic credentials, including degrees, certificates, professional qualifications, and other achievements. However, verifying these credentials can still involve manual processes, centralized systems, and institutional confirmations. These can create delays for employers and administrative burdens for educational institutions. More importantly, there is always a concerns regarding the authenticity and possible misrepresentations of qualifications. EduVeriChain proposes a blockchain-powered solution to address this problem. Through EduVeriChain, educational credentials can be transformed into secure and verifiable digital credentials. Graduates can own and share their credentials, while employers can independently verify the authenticity of those credentials. Therefore, the expected impact is not only faster verifications, more importantly, it is about building trust between graduates, educational institutions, and employers. Ultimately, we aim to contribute to better graduate employability or GE by making graduates' qualifications easier to trust and verify. There are four major problems the EduVeriChain attempts to address. First, credential fraud. Academic qualifications can be misrepresented or manipulated. Blockchain provides an immutable record, meaning that credential information recorded on the blockchain can be protected against unauthorized alterations. Second, verification delays. Traditional verifications may require employers to contact institutions or go through several administrative procedures. EduVeriChain aims to enable faster verification through a decentralized verification mechanism. Third, data privacy and ownership. Graduates may have limited control over how their credentials are accessed and shared. EduVeriChain is designed to give graduates greater control over who can access their credential information. Fourth, interoperability. Graduates may have credentials from different institutions or platforms. Therefore, the system needs to support interoperability so that credentials can be verified across different environments. These four problems provide the rationale for developing EduVeriChain. Based on these problems, EduVeriChain has four main objectives. First, to enhance data security by using blockchain technology to protect credential records. Second, to improve transparency in the issuance and verifications of academic credentials. Third, to empower students or graduates by giving them greater control over their digital credentials. And fourth, to facilitate trust among graduates, educational institutions, and employers. These objectives are closely connected to graduate employability because employability is not simply about possessing a qualifications. It is also about whether that qualifications can be trusted, recognized, and efficiently verified by the labor market. The innovation provides several benefits. From the perspective of data security, blockchain can provide a secure and tamper-resistant record of credentials. In terms of transparency, stakeholders can have greater confidence in the authenticity of credentials. For students and graduates, EduVeriChain provides greater ownership and control over the sharing of their credentials. Finally, there is an important benefit in terms of efficiency. Instead of relying heavily on manual verifications, employers could potentially verify credentials much more efficiently. Therefore, the benefit is not limited to universities. It extends to graduates, employers, and other stakeholders within the education and employment ecosystem. This slide presents the overall framework of the innovations. At the center of EduVeriChain is the digital educational credential. Educational institutions issue verified credentials to graduates. These credentials are secured through blockchain technology. The graduate can then share the credentials with a potential employer or another authorized party. The employer does not simply rely on a document submitted by the candidate. Instead, the credential can be independently verified through the system. Therefore, the framework creates a connection between three major stakeholders: educational institutions, graduates, and employers. The blockchain layer provides the trust and verifications mechanism connecting these stakeholders. In the longer term, this framework could potentially be extended to professional certifications, micro credentials, lifelong learning records, and other forms of verifiable achievement. EduVeriChain also has potential beyond research and academic applications. We identify several possible commercialization models. The first is subscriptions-based services, where institutions or organizations subscribe to advanced features of the platform. The second is data exchange or verification fees, where organizations may pay for specific credential verifications or integration services. The third is advanced analytics and reporting, which could provide institutions or employers with additional insights based on verified credential data. Another important opportunity is system integrations. EduVeriChains could potentially be integrated with existing university student information systems, learning management systems, or human resource and recruitment platforms. Therefore, the innovations has the potential to develop from a research prototype into a technology-based service platform for the education and employer ecosystem. What makes EduVeriChain novel? The key novelty is the applications of blockchain technology to create a decentralized and tamper-resistant mechanism for managing and verifying educational credentials. Instead of treating the academic certificate simply as a physical or digital document, EduVeriChain treats the credential as a verifiable digital asset within a trusted technological ecosystem. The important point is that the value of the innovation is not blockchain alone. The novelty comes from connecting blockchain-based credential verifications with graduates, employability, and the digital labor market. That shift represents the core innovations of EduVeriChain. EduVeriChain provides usefulness in four main areas. First, tamper-proof and verifiable credentials. Second, instant or near-instant access to credential verifications. Third, greater control over documentations and credential sharing. And fourth, more efficient verification processes. Therefore, EduVeriChain can potentially reduce friction between graduations and employment by making trusted qualifications more portable and easier to verify. The value added of EduVeriChain can be viewed from four perspectives. First, enhanced graduate employability. When qualifications can be verified efficiently, graduates can present stronger evidence of their educational achievements. Second, increased trust and transparency. Employers and other stakeholders can have greater confidence in the credentials presented by graduates. Third, Streamline operations, educational institutions and employers could potentially reduce administrative efforts associated with credential verifications. And fourth, scalability. The concept can potentially be expanded across institutions, industries, and different types of credentials. Thus, the ultimate value proposition of EduVeriChain is the creation of a trusted digital bridge between education and employment. In terms of technology readiness, EduVeriChain is currently positioned at TRL2. This means that the innovation is currently at the stage of theoretical studies and preliminary proof of concept. At this stage, we are defining the system architecture, security protocols, and potential integration points. Therefore, I would like to emphasize that EduVeriChain is currently an innovation concept and early stage technology development rather than a fully deployed commercial systems. The next logical stages could involve developing a functional prototype, testing the blockchain architecture, validating the credential verification mechanism, and conducting pilot testing with relevant stakeholders. In terms of intellectual property, we have submitted these innovations to the Commercial and Intellectual Property Divisions or ICD of University Malaysia Kelantan with the intentions of obtaining copyright protections for the innovations. This slide presents the awards or recognition associated with the innovations. Recognition at this stage is important because it provides an external indications of the innovation's potential and supports the further development and visibility of EduVeriChain. However, our focus is not simply on obtaining awards. The more important objective is to develop the concept into a validated and potentially deployable solution. Industrial collaborations will be an important component of the next stage of EduVeriChain. The innovation requires engagement with stakeholders outside the university, particularly employers, technology providers, and organizations involved in recruitment or credential verifications. To conclude, EduVeriChain is more than a blockchain-based certificate system. It is an attempt to create a trusted digital connection between education, credentials, and employment. At present, the innovation is at TRL2 and the next stage is to move from the conceptual framework toward prototype development, validations, and industry collaborations. EduVeriChain, transforming academic credentials into trusted digital assets for the future of graduates' employability. Thank you very much.